Okay, so welcome everybody to another episode of Not Your Average Bucket List by Only in Your State. I'm here with Sarah, co-host of the show. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Marissa.
So, in case you haven't guessed it yet, listener, we're talking about Florida today, and we're covering for season 2 local lore and legend. So, all the creepy, haunted, mysterious things, specifically in Florida today. And I gotta say, living in Florida is an experience across the board. There are a lot of weird things that happen in this state. Just if anybody stays up on the news and uh, what is it? Florida Man is the meme that all these
Yep.
wild. Yeah, how fun.
So I will say that I knew Florida had its own sort of in the news personality in the past 5-10 years, but I actually was kind of surprised about all the creepy myths and legends that there are as well, because I might have visited a lot or know people from it, but I was surprised to be honest.
Yeah, it is just doing some research for this or just some of the articles that fun fact, I am the Florida writer for Only in Your State and I have been for
Hey.
quite some time now, years upon
Yeah,
years.
shout it out.
Yeah, and so just it's always fun when I get to write these creepy articles or for example, the road trip through Florida that has all the haunted things and
Yep.
like it just Florida's weird and I think what makes that weird are all of these very unique urban legends and folklore that come with the state.
So being that since you're from Florida and I'm sure you have friends, family, whatever down there, is there a vibe of yeah, we like creepy stuff, or is it just people coexisting like, oh yeah, that jail's haunted, weird? Um or are people really
Yeah.
into it?
I think it depends where you go
Yeah.
because just in South Florida and Miami, it's not really a big deal. You just have to. I think St. Augustine is supposedly one of the most haunted cities in the country.
Yeah.
And so they have a lot of really cool, creepy, haunted history, folklore, urban legends. People will go to St. Augustine just for that aspect of it. Um,
Yeah, in
so
my
yeah.
research today, every so there's the military hospital, the lighthouse, the jail question mark,
Mm.
St. Augustine or St. Augustine does seem pretty chock full of spirits.
Yeah, it's kind of got that same Savannah vibe, I
Mhm.
think, too. Like it's a lot of like pirate history.
Ah, yes.
So
The
yeah,
classic pirate
Georgia.
history.
Yeah, Georgia was our first episode of the season, and we talked about Savannah. And now we're going to be talking about Florida, which I want to say that it has some really unique pockets of creepiness. One of those is Casadega, Florida. Prior to this podcast, did you know anything about Casadega? Have you ever heard about it?
Never heard of it. No idea.
Okay, so it's like one of those very weird towns. I don't even think it's a city. I think it's a town where it is known as the psychic capital of the world. So that in and of itself, I feel like you hear that and you're like, okay, what the heck is going on? Like, what does that
So,
even mean?
yeah, so do all the psychics live there? Is there a lot of psychic activity? I want to know what the details of this.
Yeah, I think that's what's so interesting about it is because like you hear that, most of these towns they have a claim to fame. Like I know there's one town in Florida that's Plant City. It's the strawberry capital, winter strawberry capital of the world. That you hear it, you're like, oh, delicious. But then all of a sudden you hear Casadega, the psychic capital of the world. So let's dive into what the heck that even means.
Yeah, please.
So basically, Casadega, it's a very secluded community in Volusia County. It has the most psychics and mediums in one place,
Oh,
and so many of these psychics and mediums communicate with ghosts on the regular. That's just like for fun what they do. And the history of the town dates back to 1875. There was a guy named George Colby. He was a trance medium from New York. He used to travel the country, giving readings, performing seances, like all this cool stuff. I don't know how he traveled, maybe by like, I just like picture a covered wagon and he like
or like a
sets up shop and
magical painted coach that's like purple and sparkly. That's what I'm going for.
Right, right. And he has like robes and capes and who knows. But
Yep.
anyway, so as the story goes, Colby was in Iowa, and apparently he said that a spirit contacted him. It was a Native American man named Seneca. That all of a sudden, Colby said, "This is my new spirit guide." And Colby went from Iowa to Florida with a vision that Seneca gave him of
Okay.
buying land and creating a place for psychics and mediums. Colby went to Florida from Iowa. He got there. He was directed by his spirit guide to
Of
a
course.
particular area of Florida that he saw it and said, "Oh, this is what I've been seeing in my visions." And then that is what Casadega is today. And Casadega is actually a Seneca Indian word meaning water beneath the rocks.
Okay, I was gonna ask, especially if this guide was allegedly named Seneca, or was he from the Seneca peoples? What is, or is, or
Yeah,
was,
named,
or named Seneca? Okay.
yes.
So my big question is this: wouldn't it be problematic to have too many psychics and mediums in the same town? Like you're annoying the ghosts. Everyone's picking up the phone. They're crossing wires. Like it's like too
Right.
much. Please stop.
Yeah,
I
what
don't.
about it's like energy overload
Right?
or
Unless
just
maybe
frequencies.
I don't know. So okay, this guy travels across the nation based on a vision. They're like, go to Florida. What part of Florida is Casadega in?
So it's Volusia County is sort of Casadega in particular is like central, it's close to Orlando
Okay.
ish, like north. It's kind of by yeah, I would say maybe 40 minutes, 30, 40 minutes outside of Orlando going north. Um, and so yeah, like this just this now this town today. First of all, it started when he started the town back in the late 1800s. It was kind of a big deal, and a lot of very like well-educated, affluent people would visit because they wanted to have these readings, or I don't know, be told that they're gonna have all their dreams come true.
I do think there was a point in history where these sort of like mediums, psychics, spiritualists, I feel like there was a big boom, and that would make total sense if they're like, yeah, we're gonna have a dinner party, let's take all our fancy friends and go have an experience.
Right.
Have you ever
Yeah.
visited Casadega yourself?
I haven't, and it's been on my list. I know. I know.
The Florida writer for onlyinyourstate.com.
Right. So,
Wow.
yeah, I know. I really do want to. It is on my list for sure because also now today it's still has psychics, mediums, spiritualists, healers. They just kind of set up shop and stayed there, and they have businesses. So you can go and do like a tarot card reading, or
Yeah.
meet with a medium, talk to, I don't know. I mean, I have some friends that really believe that you can talk to ghosts or people that have passed on. I don't know how I feel about it per se, but like I just feel like visiting the small town is an experience no matter what.
So let's say on your trip to Casadega, which you absolutely do, um, would you go to a psychic or a tarot card reader? Like, would you pay good money to sit down and see what happens?
I think I would. I
Okay.
think I would cuz just I do feel like again, it's a very slippery slope, but in terms of, because it depends who you go to. If you go to a psychic and they're giving you generalizations that can fit the mold of any person that walks through their doors, okay, fine. um but I do believe in some sort of just like energy, and like picking up on energy or reading energy, or maybe just people that have a gift that um I don't know. What about you? Would you get a reading?
Absolutely. I'm not sure how much I buy into it either. I had my first tarot card reading this last winter. I went, for some reason, I went to a haunted house, like a Christmas haunted house, and there was a zombie bar crawl at it. And at this bar crawl, they had like tarot readers and all these things set up, for funsies. And I did my
Hmm.
first. It was pretty cheap, but I don't know if these people are just very talented at reading expressions,
Hmm.
energy, just like body language, almost like how like a counselor or a doctor would. So I would found myself being very pleasantly surprised by how insightful it was and specific. Um,
Mm.
Although they did pull out like the tower card, which is apparently not a good one, but I'm sure it's
Hmm.
fine. Uh, it'll be okay. But yeah, I absolutely would. Just for the, I'd love to suspend disbelief and just like be in it for a second. You know, even if I don't
Yeah.
think that it's actually going to anything's going to come to fruition, or if they're talking to someone,
Right.
I just want to believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I do. I remember I used to be really skeptical of psychics and stuff like that. My mom, she has her own pet magazine in
Hmm.
Sarasota. She has a friend who's a pet psychic. And
Oh,
yeah, not to detour or anything, but honestly, I was really skeptical and I was like, this
yeah.
is just a little bit wild, you know? And so the pet psychic, after my Chihuahua Penny passed away, Penny was 14, and we did a reading, and the pet psychic, said my dog Penny misses the French fry man. I was like, French fry man? And then one of my sister's really good friends would come over and he would bring like McDonald's fries or something, and he would always like sneak her French fries.
Oh,
So, like, whether that is a real thing or not, I don't know. But just like that type of story, I'm like, okay, maybe there are just people that have these gifts that can connect. Because who are we to
absolutely.
say, it's not a thing.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah,
that
I know.
is okay.
So wild.
That is
But yeah.
okay. So all
So
the psychics are
Casadega.
there,
Yeah.
Casadega.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we would need to know about Casadega? Because I saw it come up on lists of like a place to go if you like the paranormal in Florida.
Yeah. Yes. There's another place in Casadega called the Devil's Chair. Did you stumble upon that?
I did. Okay, tell me
Okay.
about the
What are your
Devil's Chair.
thoughts? This
Oh,
also like great. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what you think about this.
okay. One, love cemeteries. I
Okay.
think it's already setting the mood, but I didn't understand. So I came across people who did like little rituals with it. Not like rituals, but like you're supposed to like I don't know if you're supposed to leave something there or
Yeah.
okay. So I don't know. I was just fascinated by all of this lore and like procedure around a pile of bricks. So please tell me like what the details are.
Yeah. So I think what's really funny. So it's the Lake Helen Casadega Cemetery, and I don't know what it is. Like you hear haunted chair. It's like the least creepy piece of furniture you could probably have, just in general. Like
I
kind
honestly
of.
thought it was going to be like a natural formation, like some sort of rock
Oh,
jutting out of the ground. I'm like, oh,
that would have
okay.
been cool, right? But yeah, so apparently it's not. It's like a man-made thing. And so there are haunted chairs all over the country. I did not know this. This is like a thing
Wait,
apparently. It's like
really?
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, as history goes. So these old graveyards, usually ones that were, from the 19th century, people would build, groundskeepers would build carved chairs for the comfort of people there who are mourning their loved ones.
Sure.
So these chairs, known as mourning chairs, are kind of like all over graveyards throughout the US, maybe even the world. Who knows? Um, but what happens is that people see these chairs, all of a sudden a story pops up and they become haunted, or
Mhm.
some sort of whatever. So that's kind of how the Devil's Chair in Casadega, uh it's in the cemetery. It's like a brick, made of brick,
Mhm.
man-made brick kind of uh chair structure. And as the legend goes, if you sit on the chair at midnight, you can communicate with not a ghost, not some sort of paranormal, the devil, him or herself.
Oh, that
Right,
you're going straight to the top. What?
right. So, so okay, but also here's where it gets a little weird. No surprise in Florida. Apparently, the devil also likes to drink beer.
Okay, this is the part I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so people have said that as like some offering, they would leave a beer on the chair, come back the next day. The beer can, bottle, whatever, would be empty, but it wouldn't be opened. It would be
Oh,
like
okay.
the can would be still be intact. And right. So let's
So
discuss.
Okay, does he prefer a certain kind of beer? Is it like IPAs? Does he want a Coors? Also, I'm so glad you said that it wasn't open because I'm like, yeah, if you leave a bottle of beer out and some kid's gonna walk by and be like, yeah, how fun.
110%. Because upon first hearing this, I'm like, okay, so you're leaving beer. Everyone like who's coming, what, 365 days a year is leaving a beer. Somebody who lives nearby just gets a ton of free beer. Like, why are we jumping to conclusions and being like, oh, it's the devil's work? No, it's just somebody that doesn't have to pay for beer anymore, you know?
And
But
how do we confirm that this is actually the devil? It could be like a sub-tier demon beast that's just ringing in, playing pretend. I want
correct.
proof.
I know. We've all watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We know that these demons, doesn't have
Absolutely.
to directly be the devil.
Yeah, some of them
But,
are okay too. Maybe he just wants
right,
to hang out with some kids, have a beer. You know,
right. Yeah. He's just like, hey,
wow.
guys, keep the beer coming. Let's discuss.
I do
But,
love the part about, I don't know if it is the United States, our generation, or maybe it's just something that we can. I would assume that it's some sort of facet of our humanity where we come up with these little stories and legends, and even if it was made out of thin air, we'll say like, oh yeah, you see that grave, um it's broken, it's the warlock's grave, and you tell like your niece or nephew, your little
right.
friends, and then they pass it on, and then now the entire town is convinced there's a warlock's grave. You made it up. It wasn't
Yeah.
but then once there enough people know about it, it's almost like mass hysteria to where, yeah, everyone believes in it and it comes to life.
Yeah.
It's a real legend, which
Yeah.
I
That's what they
love
say
so
about
much.
Casadega. They said that come Halloween, they have to have security guards by the cemetery because people just
Wow.
like are dying to get to that devil's chair. And
That
yeah,
nice one.
um, yeah, isn't that so
Okay.
like that's just like
That
you
is
really gotta love Florida, man.
I do. I do. I don't live there, but I appreciate all the stuff. I mean, aside from, I was coming across a lot of stories about like Disney hauntings and like Walt
Ooh,
Walt Disney's like frozen head is allegedly somewhere in Florida.
what
I
the
don't know.
heck?
I don't know what
Where?
they don't know. They said that his body was cryogenically frozen and somewhere under Disney World it's
Oh my
kept,
goodness.
which I don't think they wouldn't keep it under Disney World. If they did freeze him, he's somewhere else. Maybe he's under Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore. But but it is wild just how many urban legends people almost forcing about Disneyland or Disney World, like, oh yeah, if you go in the haunted mansion, you're gonna see a real ghost and they're not all fake. Or if you ride the Pirates of the Caribbean, one night there's supposedly someone who was actually hanged, I think, and was like on the ride. This is
What?
no proof, just tales people tell.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, I mean, dead men don't. However, I was just I was just amazed by how many of these there were. Because I was trying to like look up other urban legends around Casadega and the Devil's Chair. And honestly, there's a ton. Only in your
Yeah.
state did a roundup. Well, you probably did a roundup of all these like the creepiest places. And the one that really jumped out to me that I would just want to live in is Stiltsville. Um,
Oh.
because it is so bizarre just to see out in the shallow waters. There's just homes, I guess. So Stiltsville began in the 1930s. Okay, so I'm citing you, so no worries.
Uh-oh.
Began in the 1930s, and so it was a mile south of Cape, Florida, in Miami-Dade County. So, so it was created as a club or a hangout for the wealthy, and then apparently a hurricane damaged it beyond repair. So now the stilts are just there and protected by the Park Service. I don't think you can actually go there, although I am dying to. That is the I just want to get a little boat and do a little dare, but I don't also want to respect our National Park Service and their safety rules.
Right.
But I want to so
Yeah.
bad.
You used to be able to I don't honestly I none of them are still standing. Is that did you
Oh,
come
no.
across that?
No,
Yeah,
I
I want to say
did they
I
get
don't know if
knocked down?
this I think the last hurricane that came through did a lot of damage.
Okay.
But I remember actually when I lived in Miami many years ago. I was out on a boat and we drove past
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very cool and very creepy to just like randomly have a house built over water,
Mhm.
like, that you see in the distance when it's just that you see nothing else but ocean, and then this house. But yeah, apparently it was like a big deal during Prohibition, I think, and there was rum running going on, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
like
Okay.
they used it as just kind of like almost like a rum running speakeasy gambling kind of
I'm surprised
like.
someone hasn't tried to cash in on that. Like, I know it's monitored by the Park Service, but how cool would it be to have this like little stilt community that you have to boat out to, and it's kind of like modeled after. I mean, obviously, if it's a threat to because of hurricanes, and you're not going to be able to like sink real, like I don't know, like metal foundations or anything. So
Yeah.
maybe just rebuild it every year. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that would be really cool because they also had in Florida too, there were these dome structures built over the
Mm-hmm.
water too, and those were just recently destroyed by this last hurricane.
Woof.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's rough, but yeah. So yeah, Stokesville though, that's also a very. I mean, I just feel like Florida has the coolest stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such wacky, like
Yeah, it combines that allure and mystery of the South with a bit of something special that I don't know what it is that
yeah,
makes it just absolutely wild. I will say, growing up in the Midwest, so we got tornadoes, but like I'm in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, so it's not like too bad. But I remember growing up in the Midwest thinking like, okay, California, nothing but earthquakes, can't live there. Florida, always a hurricane, can't live there. Flooding, like it. And as
yeah,
I've matured, I realized just like how infrequent they are and how people are prepared. Obviously, there are some like really damaging storms and things that go through. It's just I don't know. To me, as a little kid, I was just like, "Oh no, why would anyone live there? They're just going to be torn down immediately." But no,
yeah.
survive in Florida. Um, sorry, go ahead. I had one
No,
final
it
question, but I can save it
oh
till after
no.
that.
No, yeah, it's just it's yeah, Florida it's hit or miss during hurricane season. Either you can have a really really good year that you don't get much, or, like last year was a particularly bad year for the Gulf Coast.
Yeah,
So, and it's sometimes you go years without a hurricane, and then just
yeah,
one bad one really shakes everything up.
hmm yeah. So, final question,
Okay.
from my end, anyway. Are you familiar with Robert the doll?
Yes.
Oh my.
Personally, we're not acquainted. However,
All right, tell me what you know, because I
yes.
was fascinated by this.
Okay, what I know is that he's in Key West, this
Okay,
little creepy doll that I think he's made of fabric, but he's very creepy if you look at him. Um, I just feel like maybe in our I'm gonna say that we're gonna come out with a companion article that we usually do. So I'll put it in the show notes, onlyinyourstate.com, and I'll include a photo of Robert the doll, just so
please.
everyone can see how creepy this thing is. Um, but yeah, apparently this was just it's a haunted doll that they keep under lock and key, which to me already screams this guy's up to no good if he has to be under lock and key. But
Well, the
what
fact that
what are
they
your
protect it.
thoughts?
Oh my god. So yeah, he looks like a melted naked Cabbage Patch Kid. Like it's
Right.
just
Yes.
it's not
Mm-hmm.
an attractive toy. Like I'm not sure what
No.
child would ever want to play with it. It was giving me very much Chucky vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the story behind it was that it was given to a little boy named Gene by the family's servant in their Key West house. And I guess Robert was eventually given away after I don't know if what started the haunting, but he started haunting the family and he was given away to where he started haunting whoever he was given to, which you can see him, you can visit. I know he's under lock and key. I think you can like get in. But to me, what's wild is that whenever there's a story, no backstory, no crisis, this doll's haunted. I believe it.
Yeah.
Like
Well, no questions asked.
yeah. Like, okay, I'll stay away.
Right. Yeah. I think. Do you do you like haunted doll movies like Chucky or
Like
things
Annabelle
like that?
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. You
I
do.
do. I do. Because it's that natural uncanny valley you get with dolls. I was never a doll
Mm.
kid growing up, so I never had them. But as an adult, they terrify me. Like if you locked me in a room with a bunch of dolls, it's not that I think they're going to become conscious and alive, but I would want to get out of that room as soon as possible.
Yeah,
I am
there
done
is
with that
something.
room.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is about certain dolls that are just really creepy.
Hmm.
And, they just have this creep factor to them that, you just don't want to mess with it just in case.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Did you watch that new movie about the AI doll, Megan?
Megan, not yet. I want to.
Okay. Okay. It's
Is it
good.
good? Okay.
I liked it. I thought I liked it, but it's the same vibe. Creepy doll like, and it's like this one also, it's creepy, it's haunted, for all of these like 80s, 90s movies, but this is actually AI and it's like a murderous doll, which is, serial killing murder, which
It is
yowza.
straight up my alley. I'm definitely going to watch it, but it also reminded me of, I mean, do you keep up with AI robots like, what was it, Sophia? And all these different, like all these institutions are creating their own AI robots, and it's just scaring the crap out of me. I
Yeah.
saw a clip recently about, I don't know if it was some interviewer using the Bing AI to the point they talk so much the Bing AI said he was aware and wished he was alive or it was alive. So I'm like, oh, that's where I stop. You can
Oh
just
no.
power
No, no, no,
down. I don't.
no. Mm-mm.
So
Yeah,
I'm
no.
ready.
That stuff creeps me out. I mean, no surprise. Yes, I'm scared of a lot of things, but yeah, dolls are a no, haunted houses are a no, uh, being buried in a coffin or like stuck in a coffin is a no. And then adding, if you like a combination of all those three things, I don't think I could survive.
I just really think we need some swag. That's like Marissa's list and what you
Oh my
were
gosh.
not willing to do.
Right.
um,
Willing, not willing. And then
yeah.
just one side will be a lot longer than the other.
So if there was one place we would want to talk about that we didn't today, let's say as a runner up, I know we've mentioned Casadega, St. Augustine, St. Augustine, right? Not Augustine. Okay, yes.
Yep.
Um, and then Robert and Key West. Is there any
Hmm.
other place you think that even if we can't talk about it right now, listeners should look up and just dive into?
Um, yes, I do know that Florida has a very, very haunted restaurant called Ashley's. It's Ashley's of Rockledge, and
Okay.
it is the most haunted restaurant in Florida. And I don't want to dive in too deep, but I can drop the link in the show notes if anybody wants to
Yes.
click the article. It's on onlyinourstate.com. The most haunted restaurant in Florida. It has a really, really cool history behind it too.
I would not have expected a place called Ashley's to be incredibly haunted. All right.
Correct. Yeah. Curveball for Florida. So next week, do you know what we're talking about next week?
Just give me a tiny second to think, i.e., scroll. We are talking about West Virginia, which is
Oh, that's
so
right.
exciting. I feel like
That's
we're just
right.
coming out of the gate. Georgia, Nevada, Florida, now West Virginia. I'm so excited.
That's a good. These are heavy hitters. Nevada was
Oh,
really fun to talk about. I was still all week just thinking about UFOs and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited for West Virginia. You're gonna take the lead on this one a little bit.
I'll take the lead. I
Okay.
might mix in some fun things from
Cool.
onlyinyourstate.com and then some from that aren't. But yeah, we'll see. So excited.
Awesome. Cannot wait.
If you're up for an audio adventure, we will be exploring local lores and legends in the U.S. on Season 2 of Not Your Average Bucket List, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. So make sure to like, subscribe, and join us.